No worries, Rosa. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, guys. I just put in the chat this landing page, which gives you everything about global buyers that are purchasing here in South Florida and all of the information when it comes to our international products as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to move down a little bit. Again, I just put the link of where I'm at in the chat. Okay. Or you can go to miamirealtors.com/global to get here. Okay. So what I want to cover first is located over here on the right. We have a little button here that says Global Partners. What is this? But more importantly, from a practical perspective, why do I need to know about these 288 global partners that we, the Miami board, have connections with throughout the whole world? Okay, why is this important? If you, for example, right, maybe you have a buyer here in South Florida that wants to buy a property in any of the corresponding countries, you can go directly into their website. So, for example, you have a buyer relocating to Argentina, or maybe, for example, Belgium, Brazil. You can go to the corresponding website for any of these countries. You can access their individual association and find an agent that might be able to help that customer sell their property in that country. Or if you have a buyer moving here to another country, you can possibly receive a referral. So, for example, for Canada, we have a lot of great alliances, and not to mention direct associations, association meaning all the real estate associations throughout the world. So for Canada, for example, we have FIOPSI Canada 2022, Canada Turkey Realtors Alliance, TREB, which is Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. We have CREA, which is Canadian, should say, Real Estate Association. For the Cayman Islands, that one's important. It's a beautiful island. Was just there actually about a year ago. Cayman Island Real Estate Brokers Association. For Chile, we have ACOP, Cámara Nacional de Servicios Inmobiliarios, as we can see, available. And we have connections with a lot of associations also in China, Colombia, Costa Rica, Czech Republic, Denmark as well. So there is a Scandinavian connection here, not to mention Eastern Europe, Ecuador, El Salvador, and general association specifically in Europe, and tremendous amount of options also in France, as we can see. All right, so we're going to keep going, guys. Again, where is this located? One more time. It's located here on the top right corner where you see the global partners. Okay, but this is one of many options when it comes to creating a referral. So I want to repeat myself one more time. The global partners that we have here, if you ever have a buyer or seller looking to sell their property in a country that you do not service, or you have a buyer locating from here to any of these countries, you can reach out to an agent there and receive a possible referral. That's one way. Also, before we get started, I just want to highlight real quick in your gateway, there's a very important product that we launched about a year ago by the name of MLS Match. Okay, you can find MLS Match here under your Miami Services single sign-on. It should be somewhere next to Local Logic and right next to Zomeo. MLS Match is a service that replaced an older service that I loved tremendously several years ago by the name of Proxio. Okay, some of you probably remember Proxio. If you remember Proxio, you're more than welcome to go directly into chat, say, hey, I remember Proxio. All right, but what is MLS Match? MLS Match is an alternative to the global partners. If you would rather, you can go to the MLS Match system and you can create a referral when you have a customer that you can't service. What do I mean by a customer that you can't service? They're trying to buy or sell in an area that you either don't have a license, right? You don't service. So I'm not just saying global. I'm also saying in another state. So for example, you have a buyer here, maybe your cousin, right? That's always one of the first type of, family comes first typically when it comes to real estate transactions that we can help with. We have anyone here in South Florida relocating anywhere in the United States or internationally, you can go into MLS Match and then you can create a referral. So, for example, if you have a buyer moving from Florida to California or maybe Argentina, international countries also, you can create your very own referral right here. You can set up your referral terms. And if there's an agent in that country connected into the MLS Match system, they're going to be able to help service that customer, help them buy and sell in that area, and you can potentially receive a referral. The other reason why I ask that all of you, and I mean everyone, goes into the MLS Match system is there's agents all over the world, including California, different boards through Stellar MLS, Miami agents, Omni, which is in Mexico, international agents as well. They place referrals into the MLS Match marketplace. What does that mean in plain English? You can come into MLS Match on a daily basis and find the potential customers moving from other countries or from other states, moving down here to South Florida that might want to buy or rent properties. That's going to show you all of the referrals that are available. And that's what I meant by check on a daily basis. You're going to see different referrals in here. I have one from Patricia Collins. She posted looks like a couple of weeks ago there, 57 days ago. She placed a referral. She's got a buyer. So purchase means buyer looking to purchase property in the Pinellas area. As you can see, they're looking to buy residential property. And Patricia, she didn't include the price range, what the buyer's looking to pay in order to purchase the property in Pinellas. But sometimes the agent will let us know the price range that the buyer's looking to pay. Patricia's asking for a 25% referral, and the buyer needs to move within the next 3 months. I would say, based on what I'm seeing here, probably within the next month or so. Now, right here, very important when you go into the MLS Match system, you're going to see this little section here that says applications. Okay, so when you see applications, when you see 25 applications, that's your competition. So that means that there's 25 agents that have reached out to Patricia asking to service that customer. And Patricia, what she does is she, of course, selects an agent, and she can decide at what point the contact information of that customer is made available to the referral agent. Okay. So again, come in here on a daily basis. You're going to find referrals that you're potentially eligible for. Again, as long as you service that market, you are automatically set up to see all referrals for any sellers or buyers in the Florida area. Okay. So next, in a moment, we're going to go into your settings so that you can see exactly how to set up your account. Okay. All right. Now let me go ahead and let this person into the room real quick. Let me jump in the chat as well. All right, Jyoti, are we registered in MLS by default? Yes, Jyoti. So as soon as you click on MLS Match, it signs you in. But please, and we're going to do this in a moment, we're going to come back to MLS Match. I ask that you set up your profile. I'm going to show you how to do it. You want to make sure that you incorporate all of the languages that you speak. So if you speak Spanish, right? Español, Portuguese, whatever language that you speak, a lot of agents, they may not create a referral. Sometimes they have a customer that does not speak English. They may want to go into the professional directory over here on the left, and they may look for an agent that entered into their profile the languages that they speak. So instead of creating a referral, they may go here, select the language that their customer speaks, and then locate you. You're going to show up in the search results because you included everything that you could in your profile. So we're going to go over that in, again, just a moment. We're going to go back to global. So again, when it comes to referrals, consider the MLS match system along with the global partners that we have listed here in the top right corner of miamirealtors.com/global. Okay. Now, if you ever have for example, a buyer that's relocating and they want to know all of the different associations throughout the world that we have within our referral network, you can have them go right here where you see referral network. We have the Miami version. So if you're a Miami member, meaning you live in Miami, let me be more specific, you have the Miami link to the world. And if you're out of Broward, Martin County, Jupiter, DeQuest, Hope Sound, that area far north, we have individual flyers here. The data is the same. It's just the branding in the top left corner. What it does is it helps that customer know exactly where you're located based on your local market. But again, they're all the same. It's going to give us, if we're working with, for example, maybe a seller, we're listing their property in the MLS. It lets them know all of the websites that we syndicate listings to as well. And it shows them a breakdown. Again, if we have a listing in the MLS, want to make sure I also mention that. It shows them all of the key locations where their listing is going to show, as you can see. Okay, let's go back real quick. All right, so again, that's located here under the referral network. All right, now we're going to move down real quick. We are going to skip this. I'm just going to briefly explain what this is, but we have what is called a global membership right here. Because you're a Miami member, you automatically get access to all of our global resources. But if there's an agent, for example, out of California, and they want to join the Miami board and have access to products that we offer that does not have MLS data, such as our new construction platforms, as well as Cardo Front, for example, that's used for flood insurance quotes, I should say, sorry, or any tenant screening application. If an agent wants to join the board and not have access to the MLS, such as Matrix, RPR, IMAP, again, any service that's not integrated where there's MLS data, an agent can join the Global and YPN Global membership. Okay. YPN is short for the Young Professionals Network. What that is a great way in order to, especially if you're a brand new agent, in order to network with other agents and, of course, potentially receive advice whenever you may need help as well. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight this real quick. If you're not familiar with the Young Professional Network, we do have a website for that. You would just go to miamiypnpro.com. And I say this as a individual vastly approaching 40 years old. We still can join the YPN, the Young Professional Network. An age is not a cutoff. Okay, just want to make sure I mention that. Okay. All right. So what you get for free is, of course, class invites. So we do have classes that is covered directly by the YPN group. Their classes are really awesome, by the way. They have different classes. They have had a couple about Section 8 a couple of months ago. They also have great advice. Also, they have one up and coming for investors, how you can quickly grow your revenue. Lots of great advice. You can take those classes there. There's also event invites when the YPN group gets together, industry updates, and of course, a la carte selection as well. All right, there's also a $50 upgrade with included benefits. Okay, so we're going to keep going, guys. We're going to keep going. All right, again, that's the global NYPN membership located right here. Okay, where we're going to go next is my favorite part to go into, the Kanekon Papa of the page. Uh, my favorite thing to go over. So we're going to go here where you see 2024, the profile of international home buyer transactions. Okay, so if you want to know the top countries moving here to South Florida, the MLS is the best way to find where those international buyers are coming from. Why do I say that? Why do I say that? I'm a data guy. I love data. Okay. I love tax roll programs like IMAP, Realist, RPR. IMAP is one of my personal favorites of all of the options I mentioned. IMAP will allow us under the tax search to find different types of homeowners, including absentee owners, homeowners that are occupying their unit, meaning after they purchased it, they moved in. IMAP lets me find properties under distress, such as REO property, also known as bank-owned property. Again, tax search is that main lookup that we have in IMAP that even lets me find tax delinquency, probates, scenarios as well. And tax search allows me to search for, again, different types of home ownership, including how long they lived there. But Matrix does something a little bit better than IMAP. IMAP will, Matrix, I should say, Matrix will allow me to find those foreign buyers that are moving here to South Florida. Okay. So why do I recommend Matrix to locate these out of state or out of country buyers? Their tax mailing address is why I recommend to use Matrix. IMAP and generally tax roll programs when the buyer purchases from outside of the United States, their tax mailing address, because of the uniqueness, because foreign countries, every country has provinces, prefects, different street addresses. IMAP and other tax roll programs has a hard time locating international buyers. So that's why I have to repeat the MLS. Matrix is that powerhouse in order to find where we have international buyers. And in a lot of cases, where a lot of out-of-state buyers are purchasing here. Okay, but I want to make sure I mention IMAP does a good job, though, of finding those out-of-state buyers because of their tax mailing address. It's a United States address, or, for example, IMAP's good to find Canadian buyers, folks from Jamaica, Puerto Rico. But if it's international, again, Matrix is that go-to. So we're going to come over here. Let's look at the latest and greatest profile report that we have that was launched back in February. This lets us know of all of the international home buyer transactions that were reported directly in the MLS. Okay, so we're going to move down real quick. All right, all of this great information was compiled by a lot of great folks. We can see that located here. We do have our Chief of Communications, Chris Umpieri. We also have the Chief Economist as well, Agay Corraton, and of course, our CEO, Teresa King Kenny, as well. All right, now we're going to move down. We're going to go ahead and sample the data. There's 56 pages. We're going to look specifically at what everyone wants to know. The Miami Global Buyer Market Report. Again, this is as of August of 2023, I should say, August of 2023 through July of last year. We are going to go, after I go through this report, we are going to go into Matrix, and I am going to show you where you can find the latest and greatest information so you can find all of the top countries that are purchasing here in South Florida. For my international agents, what I want to inspire you to do is take this information, create 50-second, 60-second shorts on YouTube, on Instagram, so that you look like the local expert, so you can attract international buyers, so that you can generate more leads. Okay, so over here in the top left, it's letting me know that when it comes to international buyers within the South Florida area, within the markets that we focus on, they make up $3.1 billion sales. Okay, there has been reported, again, from August of 2023 through July 2024, a total amount of 4,000 international sales from an international buyer purchasing here in South Florida. And of those sales, international buyers make up 10% of the total sales volume inside of the South Florida area. The median purchase price of international buyers, again, the price of properties that they're paying right there in the middle of the data. The median purchase price is $498,300. Top destination as of, again, since July. This might have changed. We're going to look. Top destination is Miami-Dade. They make up $2.3 billion as far as sales. Broward was the next location, 584 million. Palm Beach, 94. Martin, 5 million. And anywhere outside of South Florida, such as Orlando, Tampa, right? They make up $125 million in sales. Over here on the right, we have the top six, a little bit different this year. We have a top six. Number one is Argentina. Number two is Colombia. Number three is Canada. Number four is Brazil. Number five is Mexico. And then we have as well at number six, Venezuela as well. Okay, further down, we get some additional characteristics on those foreign buyers when they're purchasing. 72% of those buyers, they stayed abroad, meaning they were likely investment property. Okay, moving over here on the right, it's letting me know that of the transactions, 76% of them were for vacation units or to rent out the property or to use it for both rentals as well as for their vacation homes. Now, this is not low, but a little bit lower than normal. 66% of those purchases were using cash. Okay, and here's a very, very interesting statistic that we have over here on the right. 52% of those buyers, they visited Florida 2 times or less before purchasing that property. That is why it is very important that we be the local foot on the ground and analyze that investment property. Again, 76% of these transactions, they're not moving into these properties. These are investment property. I welcome you guys. We had this class back on Monday. You may have missed it, but there's a class called Working with Investors. Over Zoom, it's a little shorter. It's typically around 90 minutes per session. I invite you guys to, of course, come in person. It's a little longer in person. It's a lot to go over, long story short, but take the Working with Investor series, both the 101 and the 201. Why? Here's our prime example. These buyers, a lot of them stay abroad. You're going to have to help them find that investment. You need to figure out the market rent potential of that property and look at any hazards that could hurt the market rent. And if they want to fix it, maybe flip it, you want to be able to calculate and find if there's a way to make money if they decide to sell it after they fix the property, as an example. Okay, moving down over here. I'm not saying this is low. It's a little lower than past reports, but 59% of those transactions were for condominiums. What I'm finding is a lot of our international buyers and our out-of-state buyers, they're starting to purchase property not in the typical area that we're used to, not necessarily always next to the beach. I am seeing a lot of international sales as far south as Florida City. Okay. All right. So this is a great report, guys. Again, this is as of July of last year. We're going to go into the MLS and I want to show you the latest and greatest. Further down on the report, it breaks down all of the international purchases as far as the total sales volume each year. And there's additional great statistics as well within this report. Now, without further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go to the home menu. So I am going to go to miamirealtors.com. We're going to click on home and we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go into the gateway. All right, again, into the gateway. And there's one more thing I wanted to go over real quick, though, on the global page. I am going to go back real quick to miamirealtors.com/global, just real quick. Further down, we have the 2023 report, just in case you want to see how we did there. And if you ever have a buyer or seller, we also have a global property exchange. Just want to make sure you know about that. Just going to open this up real quick. Whenever you guys have listings, for example, you have a listing in the MLS for sale or for rent, your listings are featured or the corresponding associations located here under the Global Property Exchange section. Customers, if they go to any of these association websites, they might be able to find your listing either through a search or these associations may link out, creating a little link so that customers can search here for South Florida listings. That's going to include Treb, which is Toronto, Canada, Sokovia in Brazil, HAR, which is Greece, Hong Kong, Israel, Panama, and some additional options further down. Argentina, La Plata, Australia, Rheinse. We have Austria, Ovi, Costa Rica, France, Italy, Lebanon, Mexico, Serbia, and then Spain as well. If you're a part of an international association in any of the countries that you live in, maybe part-time, and you want to see your association in another country show up under the Global Property Exchange website, all you have to do is contact GPS. Sorry, I meant to say GPX at miamire.com for more information. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. What we're going to do first is we're going to go directly into Matrix. And I want to show you, some of us don't know about this. I want to show you first the global search section. That's right. You can go into Matrix and search for listings that agents that belong to any association here in South Florida. I want to show you a menu that we launched a couple of years ago, which is our global regional search. That's going to allow you to search for out of state listings, again, that an agent down here in South Florida put into the MLS. And I also want to show you international listings that an agent here from South Florida put into the MLS. After that, we're going to run some statistical reports and find the top countries purchasing out of country and as well as out of state as well. Okay. So as soon as we go into Matrix, we're going to go over here in the top left corner where you see search. All right. And then we're going to move our mouse down and then we're not going to click it, but we're going to hover our mouse over the word cross property. Okay. When I hover my mouse over the word cross property, what I'm going to be able to do is access I want to say brand new, but we did launch it a couple of years ago. I consider it new. The global regional area search menu. I just want to repeat something one more time. One more time. The listings that we find in here, they could be out of state listings. It could be a listing in New York, New Jersey. They could be in another country. But the agent that inputted these listings, they are a member of an association here in South Florida. Okay. Why do I say that? Why do I say that? While yes, I can come into Matrix and find properties in the Midwest part of USA, Northeast part of USA, Southeast, Southwest, or by city, maybe Philadelphia, New York. While yes, I can search those areas, I'm not going to find listings where the agent put the listing into for example, the New York Association MLS, or for example, the California MLS, such as Los Angeles Realtors, right? If I want to see those listings, meaning I want to have the full pie of out of state listings in your gateway, I would recommend using Realtor.com's professional search. Realtor.com's professional search is an agent tool that you can use to find listings all over the United States. Okay. So again, matrix means agent is again a member of the one of the associations here in South Florida. They enter the listing into the matrix MLS. I use, just one more time, let me go back real quick. I use realtor.com's professional search. It means that they entered their listing into their local MLS and I can search and find listings there. Okay. Also, I want to make sure I mention MLS Advantage just real quick. Okay. So again, realtor.com's professional search, that's nationwide. MLS Advantage is Florida wide. Okay. You can find listings in a lot of locations in the Florida area. I'm just going to open up MLS Advantage just real quick. I want to show you all of the participants, I should say, that send listings directly to the MLS Advantage system. So if you ever want to see all of the different associations, all of the different areas where you can find listings in MLS Advantage, again, you go here, MLS participants. That's going to show you all of the areas, including Amelia Island, Nassau County, Central Panhandle, Bonita Springs, Estero, Citrus County, Daytona, Emerald Coast, Forgotten Coast, Heartland, Marco Island, Martin County, us, the Miami Association, and Stellar MLS. All of the different individual associations that submit data there. Naples, Navarre, Northeast Florida, Broward, Palm Beach, and St. Lucie, which is our neighbors to the north, Sanibel and Captiva Island, Space Coast, St. Augustine, and Tallahassee. What's missing? What's missing here in MLS Advantage in that menu? Not that I'm expecting everyone to read this real quick. What's missing? What's our neighbors to the south? What's our neighbors to the south? Monroe County. They're not here. So my suggestion is I love MLS Advantage, but if there's going to be some areas here in Florida that you might not be able to find using MLS Advantage, I do suggest to use Realtor.com's professional search when it comes to listings in Monroe County. And in Palm Beach, there's a island. There's the Palm Beach Islands outside of Palm Beach. If you ever want to find listings in that area, you would want to use Realtor.com professional search. But I don't want to confuse anyone. I don't mean Palm Beach County itself. You can find any listing in Matrix in the Palm Beach area. But again, there's a little tiny association called the Palm Beach Islands Association. They submit their listings here to the Realtor.com professional search system. So always take advantage of using multiple platforms to find listings for your buyer. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to keep going. Let's go back into Matrix. Again, we're under the search menu, cross property. We're in the global regional area search. Okay. So again, you have the ability to come in here also to find international listings as well for sale or for rent. Okay. But do me a favor. Want to make sure I mention. All right. Very, very important to go over this next part. You have a buyer, right? You have a buyer. They're trying to buy a property in another country, right? If you do not have the prerequisites, including licensing in that country or anything required by that local, again, association, province, what you want to do is contact an agent. So, for example, we have a buyer that wants to buy maybe a property in Argentina. We come into this system and we find a listing. What we want to do is try to create a referral term so that the other agent that is licensed, of course, and has the prerequisites to service that customer in that country or state, they're going to be able to help them. Okay. So I want to repeat that one more time. If you do not have, including listing properties, if you do not have the legal prerequisites to list in that country or province, including listing agreements and documentation, you want to refer out. I want to make sure that I'm crystal clear on that. Okay, perfect. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and do a basic active search just so I can demo this real quick. We're going to go to property type. I'm going to click on single family home and we can look when it's international. We can look by global region. So if we don't want to look by maybe country name, we can look by general area, including Canada, Caribbean islands, Mexico, Central America, South America, Asia Central, Eastern, Southeastern, Southern, Western, Australia, Europe, Eastern, Southern, and Western, South Africa, Africa Other, and of course, South Pacific Islands. That's again if we want to search a little more broadly directly for that customer. If we want to search by individual country name, I can type it out like so, or I can click on the double squares, and then that's going to show me all of the individual countries that are built into the MLS. There's 274 available countries. All right. So I'm going to say, let's do Argentina real quick. Let's also add Colombia just to see what inventory. Ooh, a lot of Colombian listings. That's beautiful to see. All right, let's add also, and you guys can put any recommendations in the chat. Let's also put in, again, let's mix it up a little bit. Let's put France in there. Let's see what we got in Canada. I'm sure we have a lot of agents have dual membership in Canada as well as here in South Florida. All right, we're at 64 listings, as we can see. All right, let's add as well. See what we have in Mexico as well. We have some listings as well. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and add Chile as well. Okay. All right. So again, you can add as many countries as you want, but if you ever have a customer that has a very specific need, for example, they say, hey, I want to buy a property in Colombia, but in a very specific, for example, maybe city, you can come in here and then you can, of course, enter the city where they're trying to purchase. And then that's going to show you the available units for sale or for rent within that area. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I go over that. Why am I showing you this menu? International agents, if you've been a member of the board for many years, we didn't have this global regional area search. Before this, we had to do a standard search in the MLS. We had to enter an area number called 5990. That is how we had to search for international listings and then figure out what country those listings were in. This is just a much easier way to find international listings. All right. Yeah, Jyoti. Absolutely. Ernie, absolutely. If you have a question, you're more than welcome to go and put that in the chat. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to make sure I mention is The Miami board, we do have partnerships with other associations all over the United States as well as internationally. So I want to cover real quick next a button that you may not have seen. It's called Intramatrix. For more information on Intramatrix, we have a landing page. You would just go to miamirealtors.com/Intramatrix. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this in a chat so everyone has access to this landing page. Okay, Amparo asked, I have a listing in Costa Rica. How can I promote it? Yes. So what you want to make sure that you do, love that question, Amparo. What you want to make sure that you do is, of course, as long as you have the prerequisites to list in that country. In a moment, I'm going to show you how to input an international listing in just a moment. And as soon as you put that listing into the MLS and you have that customer, right? You have that customer that says, hey, show me where my listing is available. You know where to go. I showed you earlier. You go to miamirealtors.com/global. Let them know about our referral network right here. That's going to show them where all of the international listings go. Also, let the customer know about our global property exchange, where our listings are either featured or there's an option to search for listings and all of these amazing associations all over the world. Okay. So again, in a moment, I am going to show you guys how to go into the system and enter an international listing. Okay, and then Ernie said, what are the prerequisites to list in another country? There is not a uniform answer to that question, Ernie. Every single country has different policies when it comes to documentation. Okay, what do I mean by that? I'm not going to be able to go into Form Simplicity, Dot Loop, or Transaction Desk. I'm not going to be able to use that standard exclusive right to sell agreement. That's for Florida, okay, not international. What you want to do, because I want to help you the best I can. You want to, of course, have any specific licensing required to sell in that country. That's first. B, right? If you have to participate in any, for example, associations, things like that, again, that's different. That may be required. And you want to make sure that you have an agreement that is recognized in that country, city, or local province. Okay. So just real quick before we keep going, I do want to make sure I mention on our website, miamirealtors.com, we have a section over here on the right where you see affiliates. Just want to cover this real quick. Affiliates. Okay. When you go to affiliates, we have right here a Miami affiliate directory. I'm not saying we do, but we might have right here under attorneys, we may have individual attorneys available that might know how to write up a listing agreement accepted in that local market. Or alternatively, I gave you another way to figure this out. You can go into MLS Match and you can locate agents under the professional directory that may live in that country and might be able to guide you through the process. Again, I want to give you guys as many solutions as I can. All right. Okay, let me go back in here real quick. I want to say that was it for questions. There's only three for Medellin from what I was looking at least based on the data. Now, here's what's interesting. I don't think not the country itself, but the country city, I don't think that that's required when we input listings. We're going to do a double check on that actually next. Okay, so before we start doing the research to locate where we have these foreign buyers, where they're coming from, and out of state buyers, before we get there, what we're going to go ahead and do is I first want to show you, again, once you have the prerequisites to list in any country, I want to show you in demo how to input that property into the MLS. Okay, so I'm going to come over here, right here where you see add and edit. Okay, That is where we go in order to put in property into the MLS. So we're going to go here real quick. We're just going to watch me. I'm just going to demo this. I'm going to go right over here in the top left where you see add new. We're going to pretend that we're going to list a single family home in Medellin, Colombia. So we're going to go right here, single family manufactured homes. I'm going to give that a click. All right. And in order to enter an international listing, you're going to go right here where you see out of area or no tax folio. I actually have a lot to do with this button. I think it was 6 years ago, I made a recommendation so that it's very easy to know where to go to list an international listing or a listing that's maybe outside of South Florida. You go right here where you see out of area or no tax folio. What that does is it allows you to start with a blank listing so that you can enter some of the unique information for that international listing just much easier. Okay, so we of course have this acknowledgement right here that we have to read. Again, that deals directly with the remarks. We're going to go ahead and say we have agreed. I'm going to click on validate, and then I'm going to go right here where you see location information. Okay. Also, also, this class is recorded. All of our classes are recorded and they're available on the main website. Reason why I'm mentioning that is I do know that we may have a member that's with us that might be entering an international listing into the MLS. So I want to make sure I mention that. If you want to see that demo, of course, I'm going over it live, right? If you want to see a recording on how to do it, you just go to miamirealtors.com, go to education right here, and then go into the menu, and then click on tech training. So again, education, tech training. All right. And then you're going to be able to find all of our latest and greatest videos located right here. Okay. We should have this video. Just bear with me a moment. Want to say that we put it because it's brand new. We just launched this class not too long ago. It should be under the right here. It should be under free for Miami series. All right. Stand by, guys. I just want to make sure it's here. We have the new construction. We did that one earlier. Here it is right here. MLS Match Referral Networks and Zomeo websites. Okay. It should be, yeah, it should be there in that video, or we may also have it under the MLS series right here on the right. Here's the full version. So it's going to be under the MLS series also. Unlocking global, nationwide, and statewide real estate tools. And we do demo how to input that international listing. All right, so let's go ahead and keep going, guys. So if you do want to enter an international listing, first, what you have to do in order to unlock the ability to create an international listing is you go to county right over here. You open up the menu, and then you say in the menu, outside of Florida. What that does is it allows me to turn it into an international listing. So it's going to make it where I can click on the 5990 global outside of US option. And then once I do that, if I click on validate, I need to click on validate, it unlocks the global regional area. Okay. After I input the address, the legal description, zoning, if it's residential or commercial, right? That's a little bit different for international. Some countries don't have zoning codes or use codes, things like that. If it's zoned residential, right? Put residential. If it's a commercial deal, maybe office space, warehouse, you would just simply go here, put in warehouse. Subdivision name, what I would do there is put in the name of the community or prefecture. If that's a thing there, I would mention that here. All right. Now, you're going to notice though in yellow, the parcel numbers required. You can put the beginnings of the address or for example, just 4 zeros in order to continue. The other thing that can get a little difficult when you're entering a international listing into the MLS is you have to locate where that property is on the map. Okay. So you would need to go here where you see set latitude, longitude right there manually. This is required in order for it to show up on the map as an international listing. You would just move it into that corresponding area. Here we go, here we go, here we go. You would move into where that property is going to be located. So I'm going to say that it's going to be located in Belén. We move over here just real quick near calle 13, right there. 30. Let's go ahead and just say it's, again, I'm just playing. I know that that's going to be more of a commercial area, but go ahead and put right here that the property's right there. Once you click on done, it will automatically put that property on the map based on where it's located. Okay, perfect. So that is required. I want to make sure I mention that. You have to go through the map and set it manually, especially if it's outside of, I would say, United States or Canada, Puerto Rico, Cayman Islands, those particular areas, we would need to use the map location. Once we fill out the information, we would go into the global regional area search, and actually country city is required. So if it is in Medellin, whatever country it is in yellow, it is required. I just want to make sure I mention that. Okay, so from here, we select the global region. So for example, I'm going to pretend that I'm going to put in a property in Medellin. So I'm going to put South America, right? Country. This is where I select the exact country right here. From there, I select the country region, country city. That may not apply, but we would put, for example, we could double down on the fact that it's in South America, right? And from there, once we always have to read this right here. I kind of mentioned this earlier. Your acknowledgement confirms your capacity to participate in real estate activities either as a licensed practitioner or in partnership with licensed individuals within the property's jurisdiction. It also demonstrates your agreement to adhere to applicable laws, ordinances, and regulations governing real estate practices locally, statewide, and at the federal level and internationally, right there, all of which are crucial to ensuring the legality, ethics, and accuracy of the listings. So as long as we meet all of those expectations, we can list it. So I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I've acknowledged, click on validate. I can continue to build the listing and then launch it. And then that's going to go everywhere our international listings go. And again, if I have that customer wanting to know all of the marketing, I can refer them directly here to the referral network. Again, the global property exchange as well. And another great option I want to make sure I mention is set up an account with the international MLS as well. Okay, so that's another service that we provide. Again, it's called the IMLS. You guys get for free the ability to create a profile. That's going to allow you to create a landing page for yourself so that you can attract international buyers or sellers. You can even incorporate the languages that you speak.
¿Qué?
And another great way for those of you that may have international listings, you can, of course, upgrade and then pay to become a member as well, to have access to their priority agent directory right there. And you can also create a website where customers can search in 100 plus languages. That's actually a lot more than Proxio, by the way. So IMLS it's free in the sense, Ernie, that you can create your account. That part's for free. But in order to get for example, the IMLS website where you show up as higher in search results, or to enhance your listing where it shows up in the ability to add more information to it, such as, and I say this one kind of funny because we in the United States, we use square feet, foot, yard. You can also enhance the listing, entering, for example, meters, right? The metric system that everyone else uses in the world. We can add a little bit more. Absolutely. So there's a couple of different packages. Ernie, you would go directly to their website. So you would go over here in the top right corner. There is a button for this one in the gateway. So let me just show you where that's at. IMLS. All right. You click. 100 plus languages. That is amazing. Okay, so we're going to open it up real quick. All right, they should have pricing. Let me just show you where that's at. Right here. You would just select your plan. There's a lot of different options, but you get a discount also. So it looks like it would be somewhere around 199 a year, as we can see. That's going to be for the international search pages and the syndication as well. For the global luxury agent, that's going to be a little bit more at 299. But again, you get a discount as well. Just make sure that you first register. You would go here to the very top in order to register on the sign-in page right here. All you have to do is just click on forgot password, enter your email, and then the system automatically sends you a reset password. In other words, IMLS already knows you exist. You just have to put that I forgot my password, and then they send you the registration. Okay. All right. Perfect, guys. We're going to keep going. All right. Again, that's how we demo entering into the MLS and international listing. Okay. Now I want to show you my favorite part. Okay. I want to show you guys, we're going to go under search. I want to show you where you can find the latest data, where we can find where those international buyers, where they're coming from. So again, that report we got was as of last year. Let's look at the latest and greatest information. Okay. All right. So let me see. Ernie said, can we integrate this to our website? Yes. Yes, you can. You can absolutely integrate their search platform on your website. Okay. So we're going to keep going, guys. We're going to go to search. In order to run this analysis, we're going to go here where you see cross property. This time, though, we're going to click on cross property. Okay, what is cross property? If you've never been into cross property, what is cross property? Cross property will allow you to search residential property and commercial properties all at the same time. Okay, you're probably thinking to yourself, why would I do that? That's a good question. Cross property, again, allows you to search residential and commercial at the same time. You never know. You may get for example, a buyer. They may call you and they say something like, I found this property priced at 500,000 in the Doral area, right? And then they tell you, I can't tell if it's a single family home because again, they don't know what kind of property that they're looking at. Sometimes you may have a townhome that's a condo townhome. Maybe you have a condo that's a townhome condo, right? Um, Maybe it's a mixed use property. Maybe it's zoned residential and commercial that they're interested in buying. If you go in across property, as long as you have the address, you're guaranteed to find it if it was listed in the MLS. Like cross property is just a good way to find quickly the property by address. Okay. The other reason why I like cross property is it houses, we have access to all of the fields built into the MLS. Okay. And I want to repeat something. The MLS is the best way to find international buyers. Taxable programs such as IMAP and Relist, when it's an international buyer, they have a hard time finding buyers outside of Canadian buyers, folks from Puerto Rico, any of the Caribbean island areas. If it's outside of that, Matrix is your best bet. Okay, so we're going to go here where you see additional fields. And one thing I want to make sure I stress is the fields that we add to run these searches next, they have one thing in common. They have the word buyer in it. Okay, so we're going to add buyer country of residence, and we're going to add buyer state, and then come back to set up the search. Okay, so I'm going to go here to buyer country of residence. I'm sorry. Forgive me. What I meant to say is we're going to come over here to additional fields. We're going to add these fields. You probably don't have them yet. So we're going to go right here where you see on add. We're going to click on add, and I have them already here for your convenience if you're following along. We're going to go to the left. This is going to be the library where we can add additional fields. I'm going to type in the word buyer, just the word buyer. We're going to add buyer country of residence, and we're going to try to fit in, if time allows, we're going to try to also find those out of state buyers as well. This class is more global in the sense of international, but we'll also try to incorporate the buyer state as well. I may have an alternative where I show you guys the out of state buyers in IMAP instead. Okay, just to prove a point for the international. Okay, so after we add them, if you add any fields, that's actually all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else to keep these fields here forever. They stay there. There's not a confirm button. But if you ever do want to remove fields that you add over time, you just click on remove. That removes your fields. Okay. So let's go back. Let's find all of the residential sales within the past year from international buyers. Okay. So that means sold. We don't need active. We don't need coming soon or active with contract. We need closed sales. So we're going to use closed. And as I mentioned, we're going to go back a year. So I'm going to go here, put in 0-365, meaning going back a year. Okay. We're going to look at all residential properties. So that is going to be single family, my condo units, my co-ops, my villa, townhomes, and multifamily. That's going to include my duplexes, my triplex sales, all the way up to a quadplex as well. Okay. All right. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to move here. Now that we added the buyer country of residence, we're going to select all of the international countries. Okay. Now, this is what is called a pick list. A pick list requires for you to hold down the control button if you have a PC. If you have a Mac like me, you would hold down the command button. Again, what that does is it allows me to make multiple selections within the pick list. Okay, before we get started, I think I have a question. Oh, you got it, Jyoti. Absolutely. This is my favorite class. I actually wrote the original version years ago. Long story short, 10 years ago when I joined the board, the first service I fell in love with was Proxio. I love international real estate. It's my favorite thing. All right, so we're going to go here, buyer country of residence. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to select, for example, Argentina. All right, Australia. All right, Brazil as well. Ooh, our numbers doubled with Brazilian buyers. We're going to use Canada as well. A lot of Canadian buyers. Chile, China. Chinese buyers can, of course, purchase, do the treasury. Colombia, France, Germany, India, Italy, Japan. Okay, let me do that again. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, without clicking on Japan, going all the way down to Italy, I have 2,539 sales. Why does my numbers double when I click on Japan? That's interesting. I think we may have a new top country buying and investing here in South Florida. My Japanese just went up. That's interesting to see. Let's use Mexico as well. We're going to skip other. Other means that at the time that the agent closed out the listing, they either didn't know what to say or they just selected other as an option. We're going to use Russia as well, of course, through the Treasury, Spain, United Kingdom. We're going to skip unknown, USA, and then we're going to click on Venezuela as well. All right. Okay. Perfect, perfect. And then Derek said, will new construction closed sales be reflected here? Yes. I love that question. I love that question. Derek did mention something very interesting. Will new construction closed sales be reflected here? Yes, but the more important way that I answer that question is how we can identify if there were new construction or pre-construction. Okay, so in a moment, let's incorporate that, Derek. I think we should incorporate that every single time we teach that. I'm going to actually mention that to our other two trainers. So I'm going to incorporate how we can see that once we get into our results. So that's where we're going to go next. We're going to go into our results so that we can track where these international buyers and where they're coming from. So we're going to go right here where you see results. But before I click on results, actually, here's what I'm showing. That's 5,000 plus transactions within the past year that have been recorded in the MLS. If I want to parcel the data, maybe just like look at Miami-Dade, it's letting me know so far within the past year we have a total of 2,283 sales directly from an international buyer. That's that. Again, that's just for Miami-Dade, what's recorded. If I go to Broward, I'm curious. I can't even show you all of the international sales happening in the Broward area going back a year. We could see, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but according to the data I'm seeing, our next global report next year, we might see Broward beat. Of course, it comes down to the sales volume, of course, purchase power. We might see Broward beat Miami-Dade just based on the statistics I'm seeing. I can't even show you all of the sales for Broward. So if you're a Broward agent and you want to, and the best way to word it is see all of the sales going back a year, you have to figure out when you can get under 5,000 sales. Okay, so for example, let's go back out 120 days for Broward. Just within the past 120 days, I have 4,000 sales from international buyers in Broward. Miami, 731. That's interesting, guys. My opinion, this is me. I think Lionel Messi, I think he put Broward on the map a couple of years ago when the stadium was there. Plus, what I'm seeing is there's a lot of new construction developments happening in the Broward area. I know Weston's a popular area. Hollywood's going through a revival as well. There's just a lot of opportunity. So, Miami, I'm a Miami person. I'm not saying anything negative about Miami, but Miami, we're growing, in a lot of areas, west, and there's of course that commute time. That could be why we're seeing again these trends. That's just me. I'm not saying that is the case, but these are trends, real data in the MLS that we're locating. Okay, so again, that's going back just 120 days ago. Okay, if I want to maybe go back 120 days ago, maybe go back from 120 days ago to 240 days ago for that area, it's letting me know that there was 3,756 transactions. Again, in the Broward County area. Yeah, Broward looks like it's performing quite well, I would say. Okay, so what we're gonna go ahead and do is let's go back. Let's do Miami-Dade first. Okay. Let's go back a year just for Miami-Dade. All right. Let's go a little farther back. Let's go 440 days ago, just a little farther back. All right, that puts us just under 3,000 sales. Okay. So let's figure out the destinations, right? Where we have these buyers purchasing. So I'm going to click on results. Okay. With great patience. It looks like the Wi-Fi needs there you go, a moment. All right. And again, what that does is that puts me directly into my results grid. Okay. So we're going to build out what I call is an international buyers grid. What I want you guys to do moving forward is under your criteria, not now, but later on, I want you to enter your service areas, your cities that you service, meaning your market areas, or add your zip codes. This is unlocking, like I said in the beginning of class, reports that you can put together, create maybe a 30, 60-second Instagram or YouTube short so that you look like the local international expert in your local market. Again, we're looking at all of Miami-Dade though. Okay, so I'm going to go to results. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to add a lot of great information. We're going to add the cities The zip codes, we're going to find out if these are new construction sales as well within this report. And I want to know where these buyers, where they're coming from, and I want to know if they bought these properties for investment properties. Did they buy them for investment properties? Did they move into the properties? Let's find out. Okay, so I'm going to move my mouse right over here. Again, think of this as Excel. So we're seeing individual cell sections. We're going to go right here where you see address. Again, staying within the gray space. Our mouse is going to do this. It's going to turn into a crosshair. That's going to let me click and then go right here where you see insert column. I want to know the cities. So I'm going to type out city, and then that's going to let me add the city name of where they're purchasing. So from there, I'm going to click on apply. That's going to show me the exact cities, as you guys can see, of where we have these buyers and where they're purchasing. All right, so I have one right here priced at 421. That purchase was in Florida City. I have several in the general Miami area, a couple in Miami Beach, Aventura, we have Miami Gardens, Opalaca that we have access to. Okay, now I did reach out to our MLS department. I am going to follow up with them. We want to add some countries. So as I add next the country where these buyers are coming from, I just want to make sure I mention this list should grow very soon. I'm hoping to have a lot more countries to display, but we're going to work off the data that we have so far. Okay, so we're going to go over here where you see ML number. I'm going to move my mouse right here in the open space. All right, we're going to click. Okay, we're going to click. We're going to move down to insert column, and then under search, I'm going to enter that keyword again, buyer. That's going to allow me to add the buyer country of residence, meaning where they purchased from, what country were they from. I'm going to click on apply. All right, and that's going to let me see so far. We have some folks that purchased from Venezuela, Colombia, Spain, France, Mexico, as we can see, Japan, Argentina as well. Okay, let's add a little bit more information. Let's also go over to city right here. Let's insert zip code. So I'm going to type out zip code. I'm going to click on zip code. I'm going to click on apply. That adds the individual zip codes right here. Okay. Zip codes are available. If I want to search based on the zip codes of where they're purchasing, I can click on zip code. What that does is it shows me an alpha numerical order, the individual zip codes of where they're purchasing. Okay. But I want to know next if these were investment properties. So we're going to add a field called intended use. So again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click insert column, search. We're going to put in intended use. I'm going to click on apply. And within the Hialeah area, again, more talking points for a 60-second video on Instagram or YouTube. It's letting me know in the 33010 area, we have a lot of buyers, specifically from Japan, from Mexico. It's going to let me know that this purchase right here for 170 in Essex Gardens in Hialeah, it was an investment property. All right. I have this individual from Mexico, that they purchased this unit as well. They did mention if it was primary or not. This one was a relocation. Right here, primary means they moved in. I have this Japanese buyer. It was an investment property, but we have a lot of what's interesting here. A lot of Japanese buyers, as we can see. That's interesting. Okay. Now, the other thing that we could do is we have year built. So I want to make sure I answer that question. Year build is how I know if it's new construction or not. So if I do want to see, this should be clickable. Let me click on it real quick. If I want to find new construction sales, I can click the year built twice. Just want to show that real quick. That's going to show me all of the new construction sales, including the tremendous amount of homestead new construction property for Florida City, Miami Gardens. That's going to show me again where they're purchasing from. And if, again, this is how I can find those new construction sales right here. The year built, you can also find, pre-construction, meaning they're not done building it. So if I see something like 2026, 2027, that's going to be where I can find those pre-construction sales. I want to make sure I mention, I did say this in the previous class, you guys can list pre-construction sales as long as the build out has been paid for. You guys can add renderings into the MLS. You can list those here. Okay, build out meaning the developer has been paid to build out the units. Okay. All right, guys. But the other thing I want to make sure I mention is just real quick. Again, this is a menu that you can sort however you want. If you want to put the cities in alphabetical order, you can click on city. That's going to put Aventura at the top, and then that's where you can pull if you want. Maybe you want to do an Excel spreadsheet in order to tally the top countries. You would select from here 100 per page. That's going to allow you to export and put these sales into an Excel spreadsheet. You would just go into each individual search page. So, for example, I'm on the second set of results. I would keep going through. And then once I get to page 30, I'm not going to have us go through 30 pages of clicking. I can export that information. Okay. But do me a favor. First, save your display. Always come over here where you see manage display. Make sure that you save the grid. So I'm going to call this my international buyer grid. I'm going to click on save as a copy. That's going to allow me to export all of this information directly into an Excel spreadsheet. And that's going to keep all of the additional columns that I told the system to show, including the buyer country of residence, as we can see, the address of the units, if they use it as if they moved into the property, use it as an investment property, I get all of that information here. All right. Okay. Now that's for my data oriented folks. A lot of you know South Florida like the back of your hand, right? So the other thing I want to make sure that I mention is that I'm going to go back real quick. You can see these sales also by going into your map. Your map's going to let you know the top destinations where we have international buyers. So again, guys, as you can see, the beach is always going to be the beach. It's always going to be a top area for any buyer. Everyone wants to be close to the ocean. But look at these trends. A lot of purchases here in the Doral market. We also have a top destination from Coral Gables South to South Miami. Another top destination for these international buyers is from Cutler Bay all the way down south to Homestead. I say this nicely. I know I have a lot of agents, a lot of beach agents that they sometimes try to stay beach agents. You want to move with trends. Again, a lot of transactions are happening, as you guys can see, as far south as Homestead in Florida City for Miami. Let's go real quick back to criteria. Let's click on Broward. All right. Again, Broward's unique. I need to go back. I think it was 140 days to keep it under the 4,000. That's going to let me see on the map the top destinations in the Broward area. So real quick before I let you guys go, let's just zoom in real quick. All right, yeah, here we go. Hollywood, top destination, Fort Lauderdale, Davie, Weston, surprisingly not a top destination. We have Pembroke Pines. So we got a lot of folks moving into the suburban area. It looks like Pembroke Pines over here. Tremendous amount of sales. And it looks like Sunrise, as far as the Broward data outside of Oakland, looks like it's the top destination for international buyers in Broward. All right. Okay. Perfect. That is it, guys. I do want to thank you so much for your time. please make sure that you take advantage of all of our global resources that is located by going to miamirealtors.com/global. All right. Also, make sure to watch all of our videos. Go here where you see education, move your mouse where you see tech training, and then click right there where you see Miami trainers. Before I let you go, real quick, I forgot to finish this last part, Intromatrix. Want to make sure I mention, guys, real quick before I let you go. We do have partnerships with MLSs all over the world, including Georgia. So if you ever have a buyer, maybe you want a referral, maybe they're relocating to Georgia, you can look up listings in Georgia. Omni, which is in Mexico. If you have a buyer that wants to look up pricing of homes for how much it's going to cost for them to buy or rent, Omni in Mexico allows us to search using peso and United States dollar, which I think is amazing. I can find listings in California, Colorado, Michigan, Ohio, Northern California, and this one I don't believe you guys have access yet. I haven't seen an email on it. This is a teaser, but we're going to allow you guys to see very soon listings in the Northeast part of the United States as well through Bright MLS. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Have a fantastic rest of your day. All right, bye.